It's the Archivist, y'all, exclusively interviewing Philly Moves.
What's up?
Right out of Toronto. And who is Philly Moves?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fighting out of Toronto.
Yeah, fighting out of Toronto. Exactly.
And let's hear what got you started, how the duo formed.
Well, you know, I guess Johnny always kind of messed around making beats on the side. He was in bands and stuff then, and I've always been a hip hop fan and kind of was writing and just making stuff up in my head, making poems or whatever, just kind of writing stuff. And I mean, I guess we started back when we were in high school, just with like a bunch of homies and stuff.
Yeah.
Just making like retarded rap music when we were like 16 years old. Yeah.
And you were out in Calgary. When you were living in Calgary, I remember you came home.
Yeah.
And we did that one song.
Yeah.
Never Get Famous. And that's when we were like, oh.
Oh, yeah, this is pretty good.
That was the first time we actually did a song with just him rapping. Before that, it was just all of our friends, just mostly messing around. And then, I don't know, it turned out dope, so we decided to take it a little more seriously and did an album a couple years later once he moved back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I guess, yeah, it's and we've been buddies since high school, known each other since we were 13 or 14.
Yeah.
Our first project, Peace and Carrots, how did it go? Anything before this?
Well, I guess we had...
Basics to Back It was before that. That first album that we did before we started touring was called Basics to Back It. It was 10 songs, I think. And it was 12 songs, actually.
No, it was 10.
It was 10 songs. And yeah, so that was our first effort. And
that's the one that did really well on college charts.
Yeah.
We sent that out to the college charts, and it did really well, and that kind of got us excited. Like, hey, maybe, because we came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? We hadn't even played any shows, hadn't done anything. We just released this album on the college charts, and it did really well. And then we booked a full Canadian tour. Like our first show was our first show of that tour, our first show ever.
Yeah.
Was the first show of that tour. We booked like a 25-date tour, having never even played a show before.
Radio interviews and all that. But it's because we did the radio servicing so far ahead of time.
Yeah,
so that
exactly. So we like subconsciously followed music industry protocol without even realizing it.
All DIY. Everything's in-house, so that's...
And college charts, what was your guys' largest buzz going on? Which songs, and what was everyone saying out east?
I don't know. I think we really came out of nowhere with everything. So I think people have kind of been like, maybe I don't know about taken aback, but maybe it's just we haven't had so much time to marinate in the Canadian scene to become one of those kind of household names. Like, even though you could say we're peers with a lot of these, or colleagues even with a lot of these upper echelon like indie rap people in Canada. I mean, we can't really compare to someone who's been around for 12 years, has like started monthly nights in 4 cities, and has, you know what I mean? It's, even though maybe our album is doing better and we have more of a buzz than whoever, it's, you know what I mean? It's we can't really be putting ourselves in that bracket yet.
Right. And we've released 4 records that we put onto the charts.
Yeah.
And all of them hit at least top 10s in like cities across multiple markets across.
Every album has been number 1 in at least one market.
Yeah. And
I'm Tired, Dear Hip Hop.
Yeah. That album hit the top 5.
Yeah.
For
the
national.
whole month. Yeah.
Yeah. That was national. That
Countrywide.
wasn't even,
Yeah. And then it was also number 7 for all of 2012.
For most fun.
Yeah, most played, and the number 1 independent album.
Yeah.
And How to Drink Yourself Famous. What can you tell us about the next project?
Well, that's actually our last project. How to Drink Yourself Famous was our last album. Yeah.
That was on the charts as well. Yeah, that did well.
Yeah.
That hit number 4, I think.
Yeah.
At one point nationally. And we just released Creators of the Lost Art, and we're gonna do servicing for that, and hopefully our track record stays consistent. So
Excellent. And many videos from I'm So Good to Life is Grand, Dear Hip Hop, The Things I Like, Beats Me, and I'm Tired elaborate more on the creativity.
Yeah, we really just kind of like those videos pretty much come together like days in advance.
Yeah.
Really, like it's pretty much like just kind of flying, I guess, freestyling as far as videos work.
Yeah, I mean, lots of it's done DIY. Like I've done a couple of videos, and we've also outsourced them to young videographers out of school and stuff like that, and do a great job. Like the I'm Tired video specifically, the guy who did that, he used to do like snowboard videos, and Patrick Lazinski's his name. He was 17 when he made that video. He shot that, and that's everybody's one of their favorite videos. So he did a really good job.
and Canada tour guide. That is seriously dope, putting it on for our country. Back in 2010, how did this go, and where is your favorite spot in Canada?
Wow.
Good question.
Yeah, well, that was like a 3-part on our album. There was 3 short songs, and it was just naming off landmarks and about stuff we saw across Canada, and just made a song out of it. And it was people. I don't know. I thought.
I thought it was really cool. It's kind of corny. I mean,
Yeah, it's a little nerdy.
It's
I
like
guess.
something you'd see on like TVO for kids. Like,
Sorry, I dig it.
yeah,
Cool,
no,
no,
I like it too.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's sweet that you even like found it. Like, you must have been doing some digging online to even find that.
Yeah.
That's from our like a really old album. That's we made that album actually after our first Canadian tour.
Yeah. And we wrote that. Yeah, exactly. The whole album was written on the tour.
And then at Brandy's with the homie Atticus.
Yeah.
Groundbreakers.
Yeah.
You guys know how the show went?
That show was good.
It was
yeah.
awesome, actually. Yeah. That was our first ever tour. So I mean, obviously a lot of the shows were kind of hit and miss. So it was cool to come out to Vancouver. You know, being from at the time we were living in Ottawa, and it's like now we're in Vancouver playing a show. You know,
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy.
And many mixtapes elaborate on the projects and what was the best.
The mixtapes.
Mixtapes, wow, yeah.
We haven't done those in a while. We tried to. They were all themed mixtapes, right? So like we'd remix. What was the first one? Girl, Pop Divas.
Yeah. So we had like a Christina Aguilera song.
Yeah,
and
we
like
remixed
a
all this shit.
Vanessa Carlton remix and shit. just being goose. And then we did one of all like songs from the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
And then one with all like alternative songs from the 90s.
90s, yeah.
And we just like, so John would kind of chop up that song and we'd like use the hook or,
Yeah.
and then I'd rap over the chop beat or whatever. So, yeah.
And openings, definitely a few from ASAP Rocky, Mac Miller, Lupe Fiasco. Let us know your influences, inspirations, and largest accomplishment.
I'm a big Action Bronson fan. We've opened hit for him twice now,
Yeah.
and that was
Okay.
that's
those
that's one of the
shows-
ones I'm most stoked about.
Yeah,
Especially the
definitely.
first time we played with him was in Ottawa, and he was just on the rise. He wasn't like he blew up, right? And there was maybe 30 or 40 kids at the show, and he got on stage and he had the mic and he just came out. He was like, "Fuck this!" And he dropped the mic, and we're like, everyone's like, "Oh shit,
He's not gonna play.
But then he just came down on the floor and grabbed the mic and did the whole show like with the fans in the crowd with like these 40 kids. And it was amazing. It was like legendary. It was
It
awesome.
was sweet.
And then the last one that we played was at the Hoxton in Toronto, and this was like what 2 years later, and it was like 700 people there. You know.
Jam, the venue's like as jammed as it could possibly be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a dope show.
And influences, inspirations?
I mean, me personally, I've always been an old school hip hop fan, like
yeah.
Gangstar and De La Soul, Biggie, like all the old stuff. But I mean, I listen to new things now, and I'm sure it influences me, and I don't even realize it. But yeah, like if I'm gonna go sit down on my YouTube or whatever and look for a song, it's probably gonna be like a Mobb Deep song or like something from like 1993 to 1999.
I think that shows too in our sound. Like
Yeah, totally.
I go for like the whatever premiere type sound
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
that, the heavy chops, you know, heavy samples, heavy chops. But like, we might have to start getting away from that for legal reasons. If we want to start licensing and shit like that,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I think we'll always make it. But
Yeah.
we have to focus on doing at least a couple of songs, like singles
Yeah,
that are
original.
sample free, just for that reason.
And the largest crowd you've ever rocked?
I don't know.
First Blues Fest maybe.
Yeah, that was big. The
Or-
Bishop show that I played. was
Bishops,
huge.
yeah.
The Action Bronson show was gigantic.
Or the MOP show, the Toronto
Yeah,
MOP
the Toronto
show.
MOP was
was big.
huge.
Yeah.
I don't know. We played quite a few that are like in the 500 plus range. The one that Blues Fest may have been like
Yeah.
even more than that.
The first tour that we did in 2010, we opened for Del the Funky Homo Sapien in Lethbridge, Alberta. And that was through a radio contact.
That was like our 6th show ever, and it was
Yeah.
like 450 people
Yeah.
in Lethbridge, Alberta. It was like, what the fuck? Yeah, so that was dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your best Canadian hip hop memory you've been part of or contributed to?
I'd say these tours.
Yeah, the tours. Yeah,
it's like-
exactly.
that's what it's all about. That's the most fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you can play shows around your town and shit like that, but there's nothing like going on tour and meeting different people in every city and meeting the locals and it's just like traveling, but you're meeting the locals. You see different stuff meeting locals rather than doing the touristy stuff. You know, that's my favorite part.
And you make a way bigger impact on the hip hop world when you can go in and like even if you do a show in front of 7 people in Nanaimo,
Yeah, exactly.
if 5 of those people came up and said you did a good job, you know what I mean? That's worth it. You just created a little ripple in a city, wherever. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, if you're not touring, if you're not playing as many shows as you can, you're not even in the music industry. Like, sit at home on your computer and sell music on Reverb Nation all you want. But
it's a hobby at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
And break down the creators of the lost art for us.
Buy it on Bandcamp now. Well, you know, you can actually get it for free if you want.
But we're not going to do that forever.
Yeah,
we just had a conversation the other day, and we're going to start selling.
We're going to start charging it.
So get it while you can.
Get it while you can for free. Bandcamp.com. Creators of the Lost Art, Philly Moves.
Anything to tell us about the record?
Well, you know what? Because of this, now that things are starting to snowball for us a little more, and we have to start worrying about legal things like clearing samples and shit like that, we kind of wanted to do a mixtape that was going to be a kind of like a purge of all Johnny's sampled beats that he has and kind of has in his catalog that I've wanted to use but just never got around to it. So we just kind of went through his whole catalog. We picked out, I think we ended up picking out like more than, how many songs are on it?
16. I think there was like 25 beats.
Yeah, and then we just kind of whittled it down to the ones we wanted the most. And then as we started making the songs, we were like, man, these are all like really dope songs. So we were like, let's screw the mixtape, we'll make it an album. And it'll kind of be maybe our like last hurrah with a full sampled like.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of the approach. It's the Creators of the Lost Art, obviously the title. We're kind of going back to the golden age, I guess. But I mean, it's not like dusty and super old fashioned.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, obviously our sound is contemporary, like our topics are contemporary, but yeah, it's definitely harkening back to the golden age.
And how's the tour with MOP?
Awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Needless to say.
What's
Yeah.
next?
More tours.
Yeah, a lot more tours and
Yeah.
the things that we can't really discuss yet because they're not etched in stone. But yeah, lots of more shows. I mean, we're just gonna keep performing as much. We played over 50 shows now this year already.
Yeah.
And that's like northeastern states, all through Ontario, all across Canada now. So I mean, that's the game plan. More shows, more music. Just keep doing it.
And any highlights so far?
I think, honestly, the Toronto show was.
Absolutely.
It was the first show of the tour. Big venue, was at the Mod Club in Toronto, and it was packed, and the crowd was hype, and it was just awesome. It was like a big highlight because we actually promoted that show ourselves too. Like we were not only we performed, but we promoted it. It just popped off great. It was like really good look in the scene there, and tons of people rolled through. Like icons in the Toronto scene came through. And, yeah, it was great. It was just like a nice push for the whole tour.
I imagine tonight's going to be a highlight as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Last night of the tour, it's the biggest. The bill is crazy, obviously.
Yeah.
So,
Nuts. Just to be like on the show is crazy.
Yeah. And it's my birthday, so it's even cooler.
And you guys got any shows?
Wow.
Shout outs to Max G.
Max G.
DJ So Nice, Shane Stone, Bronze Naz, June Mega. Man, who else? So many people. All the people from the tour.
Yeah. I don't want to start naming people
know,
from the
never
tour.
gonna
We're going to
forget
leave
people.
people, yeah.
John, you should shout out your girlfriend.
Leslie. I'm coming home soon.
She's a very patient woman with him. I shout out all the other girlfriends that I have who are also patient with me. Thanks for holding me down across the country.
And shouts to Max G and Philly Moves, and this is the Archivist, and you already know the name, y'all.
That's good.
Shouts out to This is the Archivist. Big shouts.